Hey guys, now this is another video request, and some of you asked me, Daniel, can you give me some advice or tips on how to talk to the camera confidently? So that's what I'm gonna do in this video. Now, if you haven't been watching my channel from the beginning, you need to know that this channel is only around 2.5 years old. And my first videos, oh man, they were terrible. But over the years, I learned how to talk comfortably and confidently, and I'm gonna give you my best tips that's definitely gonna help you out. Let's get to it.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong.
Alright guys, now you know me by now, so I'm not gonna waste any of your time. So let's start with the first tip. Know what you want to say. Don't just jump right into a video. Do your research first. If you want to talk about a certain topic, like doing a certain book review, you gotta read the book first, right? And you make some notes about it. If you don't know what you're talking about, people can see it, so they're gonna see you lack the confidence, and it's gonna be a terrible video. Confidence comes from doing the research and then knowing what you're talking about. Write it down. You gotta write down what you wanna say, because this will prevent you from talking too much or too little. So you just hit that sweet spot. Your video should be very concise. The biggest mistake most people do when they talk on videos is they talk too much, and then they lose the interest of the viewers. So your speech should be short and sweet, condensed and sweet, and then you won't waste people's time. Now, of course, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. It depends on what works for you. But you can write down just a few bullet points, or you can write out the whole script. Now, most of the time, I like to write my whole script down just to get it out of my head, right? Because my first language is Afrikaans, not English, so I write it all out just to see how it all comes together. I personally write it out in paragraphs and then cut all the excess fat or the parts that are not necessary. And only when I'm fully happy with it, only then I start to film. And I put my script right under the camera just to remind myself of what I want to say. And then of course you can also get a teleprompter, which is what they use to give the news on TV. But be careful here, because you don't want to come off as a robot and lose your charisma. People connect with people. And if you're down to earth, if you look natural and normal, then people will connect with you. Relaxed body language. Now, I'm not talking about slouching body language. I'm just talking about being relaxed. People can see when you look uncomfortable or when you're tense. You see what I mean? So before you film, make sure you're comfortable. Get a comfortable chair, get warm clothes, get some coffee. Make it comfortable for yourself. And if you do that, then it's easier to focus just on your message. The more you think about things like, what should I do with my hands? What should I do with my arms? You see, some people, they struggle with it because the more they think about these things, then they start to focus less on what they want to say. And then they start to stumble with their words. They start to say words like, it's like, these are your crutch words or your filler words. When you're not sure what to say next, or when you're busy thinking of something, then you use crutch words. Now, the problem with these words are that you will come across as being less confident, and it will bring down the quality of your video. But with that said, you can also fix a lot of your mistakes with video editing, but I'm gonna explain a little bit more on that later on. Now, when you speak to the camera, use your body language the same way that you would use it when you speak to somebody in a normal conversation. Just let it flow naturally. Now, here's a few tips. If you keep thinking about your hands and your arms and you're not sure what to do, then just let them hang naturally. If there's a table, just put them on the table. If there's no table, then let them just hang. And then you continue the video. And then, just as eye contact is important in real life, it's also important in videos. So you gotta look at the camera most of the time. But then it's also fine if you sometimes look a little bit off camera when you're like thinking of something, right? Because that's normal. And then you can also use your hands just to explain things, to put more emphasis on what you're saying. You see what I just did there? Emphasis on what I'm saying. It comes naturally when you think. See, I'm doing it again, think. When you just focus on the message and what you want to say. You see, these hands, they don't stop. But don't do it too much. When I started the channel, man, I just went like this and I explained things and my hand it just went everywhere. But it's too distracting to a lot of people. So don't do it too much. And then, very importantly, with your body language, use your facial expressions to draw people in. The same goes for your tone of voice as well. I mean, think how boring it will be if I had no facial expressions and if I just talked the same way with no different tones in my voice the whole time. You see what I mean? Facial expressions kind of help people to just feel your words and not just hear it. Just like your tone of voice and the space between your words. For example, I can say one sentence very, very differently, and so can you. For example, I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my wife. I love my wife. Ooh, I love my wife. I love my wife. You see what I'm saying? Video editing. This can either make or break your videos. Because look, you're gonna make a lot of mistakes when you film yourself. It's just gonna happen. I still make a lot of mistakes. And this is the part where you cut out all the unnecessary mistakes and the parts that are not so important, all the fat. Now, if you have just a little bit experience in editing videos, then it will help you to film your videos as well. Why? Because while you're filming, you're already thinking a little bit about the editing part. You know what parts you can fix and what parts you can't fix, and you have to film all over again. You should never think that when you're gonna film a video that everything will go perfectly. It won't. Remember, there's a lot of other things that's also gonna bother you. Noises. What? And the airplane. This time it's a bike. Birds. Big truck. Neighbors. So believe me, it's not always easy to film a video. There's a lot of noises and things that just go wrong. So sometimes you'll have to say the same thing over and over and over again until you're happy with it. And then you cut all those pieces, you bring it together, and then you have your video. You can then add music to create the right feeling. And then you can add some B-roll. You can change up the color. And then even add some transitions and graphics to it so it looks more professional. And hey, you can learn all of this on YouTube. Speak clearly and slowly. Now, I don't mean slow motion, but your tempo should just be at a tempo that people can follow what you're saying. Now, I used to speak too fast in the beginning, very, very, very fast, and people could not follow what I was saying, especially if English is not their first language. People need to understand what you're saying and also keep up with what you're saying. Remember, when you explain something, when you talk about something, you already know it. They don't know it yet. When they hear it for the first time, they need to hear it, they need to process it, and then they need to take it in to understand it. That takes some time. And if you speak clearly and slow, or not slow, but at the right pace, then you will also come across as being more confident because you'll be more in control of your speech. Now remember, your first videos will be your worst. Every new thing in life that you start for the first time is usually hard. It's unknown. You don't know how to do it until you get the experience and master it. Now I'm gonna show you just a few bloopers just to show you that I still struggle with filming as well. Enjoy. Good, let's do this. How can I say this differently? You look like a robot. And slowly, connect with people. And it's a very bad habit. Very, too much varies. Okay, será? Koffie. Assim. Okay. Last one. Woo. Last one. Good. Drink some coffee. Agora que falar for the turn the page. Let it flow naturally.